Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Feels like it's been a while, but I'm back with another coloring page. This one is entitled Birdwatcher. I started this coloring page taking advantage of positive and negative space to create clouds. So I'm forming clouds using this blue marker, and the empty space in the middle is going to be the clouds, or represents the clouds. That's the fun part about art, figuring out how to create these optical illusions. This theme is one of my favorites because I love the idea of bird watching. But one day I'd like to graduate to becoming a bird watcher instead of a bird looker. So I'm living vicariously through this art piece. Now moving on to the foliage. I'm going to create the shape separate from the art piece with the marker using dashes, but keep bearing in mind the shape that I want to ultimately create, working from dark to light. So put another way, I'm not strictly sticking to the lines or coloring within the lines. I'm adding to the tree, not just coloring in the branches. There are indications of leaves, more leaves, but I'm creating more details than what's actually on the picture. Next, the branches. I'm coloring on the edge. I always follow the edge of the drawing, and I want to leave that space for a different color, but I'm using a dash kind of stroke. It gives it texture too, rather than to just draw the lines outright and solid. It gives you more of the texture of a tree branch. So I complete that and move on to the mushroom using a gray marker, and then outlining the clouds to give them a little more detail. When I'm using markers, I always like to start with the shadows. And the shadows are usually on the edges or under the image. I forgot to mention that I added a piece of cardboard underneath this coloring because I didn't want the marker to bleed through onto the surface that I'm coloring on. So just as a extra layer of protection, since this is just a page, it's not the book, I added the cardboard, or I layered the cardboard underneath. So as you can see here, I colored the owl with pink and purple, the unnatural colors of pink and purple for an owl that I'm aware of. If there are other colors, you can let me know in the comments. I proceeded with the gray and the yellow for the beak. You may have noticed that I colored in the green grass prior. So now the only thing left is the female image. I start with the face, where I use a yellow ochre color. And as I usually do, I try not to make it too solid. I leave space for highlights and adding, layering other colors. Here I'm adding detailing touches to the face. I tried to use this marker blender. I don't think it worked out that great, but I decided to try it. I forgot to mention, or I haven't mentioned, that a lot of these markers I get from Five Below. So I think I like the quality of them. They serve the purposes I have. And it gives me a chance to kind of experiment with markers. It's not my first skill, let's say. I'm more of painting, but I like using the markers because they're more accessible. You don't have to set up a bunch of tools to work with them, but also it helps. I think everything complements the next thing. The markers, using the markers complements the painting, and using other types of materials or mediums, they all kind of work together to help you build your skill. I'm still working on getting better, and the best way to do that is practice. At this point, I've just been focusing on creating the shadows And now I'm onto her hair, and once again I am leaving spaces for the highlights. Her hairstyle is kind of either a braided or a locked style. So I'm taking each strand and coloring it in, leaving space for the highlights and accentuating the separation that each strand has. Now, in completing this coloring page, I am doing more of the same. I'm coloring in the clothing, leaving highlights, and trying to keep in mind where the light would land on the garment. I do enjoy this process and find it relaxing. I hope you do as well. And I hope to see you in the next video. This is the completed image. Thanks for watching.